Namaskar friends, this is NJ, your host on this channel. So guys, in this video we will have our discussion on a planet which is right now in a very strengthened, in a very dignified state in the transit. So I'm talking about the planet Venus. We all know that Venus, which is currently transiting in the Libra sign, it is dignified. So initially I was thinking about making a video on different aspect of relationship. But then I thought, let's just try to flavorize it with the aspect of the science, technology and the neuroscience as well. So that only gave me this idea because over the internet as well there are like different expert whom I follow. One of the expert is this lady. She is very talented, intelligent. She is a biological anthropologist, Helen Fisher, and she has actually so many of her videos over the YouTube where she give the neurological explanation for different behavior in the matters of relationship. So I just thought that okay, in this video, we can have our discussion on the different aspect of relationship, and we will try to flavorize it in this way that first I will tell you that for any specific area of concern of yours, how does like neuroscience look at it, and what could be the astrological planetary explanation for that. Because guys, if you go by the like what I understood so far, when I try to understand our behavior in love from the neuroscience point of view, so it can be summarized. Any individual's behavior can be summarized in three categories. What could be the driving factor which takes you towards someone and which drives your behavior? So the very first could be the sex drive, which could be connected with the individual's testosterone. Second comes the romantic love, which could be connected with the dopamine. And third could be the committed, focused attention, care, and commitment. So over here, guys, because we all know this thing that even the nature wants us to procreate and transfer our DNA to the next generation. So how can we understand these different aspects? Now that is where we will start our discussion. So guys, the very first concern, or I would say the question is, where we will have our discussion is that how does neuroscience look at love at first sight? So what I got to know about it is that, see, love is a brain system that can be triggered at any moment, like the way the feelings of anger, the feelings of fear can be triggered. Same way, when we talk about from the neuroscience or from a brain expert's point of view, even the love at first sight can be triggered. It all comes down to understanding it in this way that we all have one sort of, kind of a love map of conscious or unconscious list of what we are looking in for a partner. And the minute the right timing happens, the same person with the same characteristics enters our life, it triggers. So if you have to understand it from a neuroscience point of view, yes, love at first sight does happen.
So guys, after getting a clearance from the anthropology or from the neurology and all, that the love at first sight is not something which has been created only in the films. It is possible in reality as well. So now we will try to understand it astrologically. So generally what I have seen is that if you will find the qualities very evident, very strongly visible in someone, is carrying the qualities opposite to your moon sign. So I will give you a basic idea of that. So for example, if you are a Aries moon and opposite to lies the Libra, so if being a Aries moon, you will find someone demonstrating strong Libra qualities, like someone who is going to be a peacemaker, who wants to keep everyone happy. So if you will find these qualities in kind of a package deal, and you are also going through a very time period, like the way when you can expect a love to trigger, like Venus might be going from your 5th house, 7th house, or from your ascendant. Even in the antardasha, Venus is active. So all these are the qualities which trigger these kind of things. And generally for anything to happen in a very sudden way, love at the first glance kind of thing, definitely Rahu has to be involved as well. So yes, for someone like, if you are Aries, opposite to you is the Libra qualities which I explained. If you are Taurus, so someone who is going to be very intense, very like determined, these are the qualities which can make you fall in love for that person. If you are Gemini, someone who is going to be very scholarly, those qualities might actually fascinate you the most. If you are Cancer, someone who is like very career oriented, very accomplished in the career. If you are like kind of a Leo person, Leo moon, then definitely someone who's going to be very philanthropic, humanitarian, very scientific approach, very scholarly kind of image. If you are a Virgo, then someone who's going to be very imaginative, very creative, very forgiving. If you are Libra, someone who's going to be very strong willed, strong determination, a very good initiative taking person. If you are Scorpio, then definitely someone who is in control of his or her emotions, feelings, financially secured might fascinate you the most. If you are Sagittarius, then someone who's going to be very playful, very like jack of all trades, knowledgeable. If you are like Capricorn moon, then definitely you will fall more for someone who's going to be very emotionally nurturing. If you are Aquarian moon, then definitely someone who's going to be like having that kind of strong personal magnetism or that sort of regality, pride in the personality. And lastly, if you are Pisces, then definitely someone who's going to be very disciplined, very organized. These are the qualities which definitely can trigger your feelings of love. So, all these qualities, guys, which I just mentioned, blending it with the transit of Venus, Venus being activated in your Antardasha, being in the right age, and the running dasha can definitely trigger, and from astrology we can understand the love at first sight.
Now, guys, another aspect, or I would say the twisted aspect of the love is like all those kind of people who find it little bit hard to get over rejection, any sort of betrayal, any sort of heartbreak up, or losing their loved one. So, how can you understand it from the language of a like brain expert? So, they have found this thing that the scientists found a activity in a particular brain region. It's called the nucleus accumbens. So this particular brain region is active in all of the addictions, all the substance addictions, all the behavioral addictions like gambling. And this is one section in your brain region which gets active whenever you have been rejected in love.
So now, guys, after understanding hard to get over rejection, kind of the love related matters from the science or neurology and all. So astrologically, definitely I don't need anything to add over here. You must have already understood that Scorpio is one zodiac sign which has got this tendency to get into the mode of vengeance, to get into the mode of like they take a lot of time in recovering from any of the matters of like this could be betrayal, this could be rejection, breakup, losing someone very important and all. So in which capacity Scorpio energy is evident in your life, a lot will be dependent on that. Let's say for example you are a Scorpio ascendant, it increases the possibility of that. Your moon sign is Scorpio, your nakshatra is like Jeshta or Vishakha, or this could be a case that at a time when you were being rejected in the love or you were going through any bitter kind of heart breakup without any closure, you were in the antardasha of a planet which is sitting in the Scorpio. So definitely, guys, from astrology, if I were to say influence and how deeply, strongly Scorpio is involved can make someone like you know it makes very difficult for that person to get over any rejection. And whatever I have mentioned, the more layers will keep on getting added. For example, you are a Scorpio moon, Scorpio is placed in your ascendant as well. Over there, like you have Mercury being conjunct with this moon, and you are in the Mahadasha of moon, Antardasha of Mercury. So the more layers will keep on getting added, the more difficult it will keep on making situation for that person.
So guys, one of the very important aspect which got discussed in majority of these kind of discussion is about the emotional mental state of people who seek for love in dating apps. So guys, over here the expert like whom we are referring for the neuroscience inputs, Helen Fisher. So she said very beautiful thing that the very first thing is that you have to ensure that you do not binge on love whenever you are in these kind of application, because our brain is equipped only to work on, like when you have like 4 or 5 options in front of you, the minute you will provide it more of like options like 8 or 10 options, it just space out. So what the person means with this dictum is that a lot many times even I come across in the consultations, because sometimes people use these dating apps like they are shopping in a like Amazon, or they are shopping in any portal, like okay, let me look for a better deal, let me look for a better color, a better option, a better pay scale capacity of that person. So it does not happen like that. An astrologer can only tell you about, okay, now you are in the right time period, in the right dasha, where it can invoke the feeling of love or attract someone in your life, but only if you will space out yourself by putting so many options in front of you. So whether you talk about from astrology point of view or even from the neurology point of view as well, your brain needs to be focused only if it is going to be provided with 3 or 4 options. So the best thing which this expert whose work we are referring, she recommended that once you feel that you have 3 or 4 selected shortlisted options in front of you, then just get yourself off from that app and just focusing on the qualities or compatible traits between the options which you have opened in front of you, because somehow our brain is equipped to focus more on the negative things only, like the way okay, I am a non-smoker, this person is a smoker, or just because I'm more fond of cats, this person is more fond of dogs. So our natural state is to get obsessed more with the negative things or the flaws or the shortcomings. So this is one such area where you have to be careful about that.
Now, guys, after understanding this concept of category of people who tend to remain lucky in seeking love in dating app, so astrologically we can understand it in this way that like the more prominence air signs or the air houses has in someone's chart, like for example you have like 2 or 3 planets being placed in the Gemini, in the Libra, in the Aquarius, or this combination is also taking place, for example, in the third house. So in a way, when we talk about finding love through dating apps and all, so over there somehow the third house plays a very integral role. And guys, do not misunderstand it. When I said dating app, I forgot to change the letters and all. Over here the matrimonial apps are also involved. Like I'm not only talking about like Bumble and Tinder or any other those apps. I'm also talking about shadi.com. I'm also talking about like jeevansathi.com, these kind of apps as well. See, the thing is, we are just trying to divide the courtship or matchmaking in 2 categories. One category is you are working somewhere and you got the love in the form of your boss or your colleague or your junior, your client or something. Or this could be a case that your family set you up with someone. You are like, you go to a gym over there. You found your love interest. So that is one category. And second category is involvement of online, like this could be matrimonial apps, this could be dating apps. So I did not further subcategorized it. So when we talk about the online category or the dating app, over there the air signs Gemini, Libra, Aquarius, out of that specifically Gemini, out of the planets specifically Mercury, and I would say Rahu. And in the houses, third house, seventh house, 11th house, and out of all these houses as well, third house plays a very very integral role. That if you have any of the connection of like Venus with these said entities, or seventh lord, any connection with these entities like Gemini, Mercury, or third house, or a planet which is active in its dasha, antardasha, sitting in the third house, can actually trigger finding the love through dating app.
Now, guys, the next scenario is like when someone asks that, can you be truly in love and cheat? To which we will definitely get to know the astrological explanation for that. But if you have to understand it from like a biological anthropologist language perspective or from a scientific point of view, so the area in our brain which is responsible for the sex drive and the part of the brain which controls over the commitment and the romantic love is different operations being conducted by different section in the brain. So yes, that is possible that you could be in love with someone and the same time you will be sneaking around. That is possible.
What does astrology has to say over there? So guys, this is one such kind of category over where like you have to understand the importance of figuring out the difference between ascendant and the moon sign. I always say this thing. From the ascendant, the condition of the seventh house tells about that this is what you will get. And studying the seventh house from the moon will tell about whatever you have got, how contented, satisfied you are in that, or how you see it. There are like those people who are irrespective of being in a very fulfilling matrimonial life, mentally they are not satisfied, they are not contented. But from the society standards and from the like biological and all the standards and all economical standards and all, they are in a perfect partnership. So the point which I'm saying over here is that to understand this criteria from astrology, studying the chart from the ascendant, the seventh house condition, studying the chart from the moon, seventh house condition becomes important. Obviously, there are like certain zodiac sign. Like for example, we say amongst the dual signs, there are like many signs, but specifically Gemini is a sign which is attached with too much of the duality in the behavior. Second thing is that there are like certain nakshatra as well, like the way for example Vishakha is a nakshatra, Purva Bhadrapada is a nakshatra. So these are amongst nakshatra which are very prone towards this kind of duality in their behavior. Here I'm not talking about like there could be nakshatra like Purva Falguni or Rohini, which are very much driven towards love and the beautiful things. Here we have to give more attention towards the duality in the personality. So like the way I mentioned, Purva Bhadrapada nakshatra and Vishakha is one amongst those. There are like certain nakshatra like Satbhisha, which has the very strong blessed capacity to conceal, to stay secretive, to hide things. So definitely guys, these are certain criteria you have to be watchful about, and definitely we have to take into consideration country, culture, era, desh, kal, patra as well. So guys, after hearing the scientific or the kind of a brain expert kind of explanation on this, you would have understood that this is a kind of a trait which comes straight from the way you're biologically equipped, the way your brain is equipped. Otherwise, imagine why would people like in certain culture and countries where on a slight hint of infidelity done to your spouse, your head can be chopped off. Even after that, people take that risk. So yes, all the like elements which I explained, duality in the nakshatra, duality in your natal moon, Venus being afflicted, and how much strong is the contrasting difference coming in the chart. Studying the seventh house from the ascendant, studying the seventh house from the moon can give you an answer to that. And definitely guys, there could be those traits which people have in their personality, but do you get those opportunity to cheat on your partner or not, or to behave or conduct like that or not? So activated dasha always have the final say.
Now guys, the next aspect of love which we will try to understand is how does attraction work. So from the brain functioning point of view, there are like four different systems in the brain. Your behavior, your decision making, your likes and dislikes might be strongly governed by these different four brain system as well, like four different categories as well. Like it is a blend of all these four qualities, but definitely in certain people this might be a case that one specific form of hormone is somehow winning the race. Like the way for example, if you get more strongly like identified by the dopamine, then the risk taking qualities is something which could be a turn on for you. If it is strongly being controlled by the serotonin, then someone who is more conservative, traditional is going to be a turn on for you. For people who are more like testosterone driven, in their case, like when we say that being analytical, being logical is more of your turn on qualities. And lastly, when we talk about people who identify more with the estrogen, in their case, imaginative and thinking long term could be a driving factor. Now let's understand how astrology explains that.
So, guys, when I reach this case, like how does attraction work? I was not expecting that the expert is going to be explaining it on the basis of four different brain system like dopamine, serotonin, testosterone, and estrogen level. But definitely, even from the astrology point of view, we can categorize it. So definitely, someone who's going to be very high on dopamine, like who will crave for, like someone who's going to be risk taking, novelty seeking, creative and all. So definitely the involvement of the planets, like in your seventh house, how strongly your seventh house is getting influenced by the planet Mars, by the planet Rahu, by the planet Mercury, can give answer to that. When we talk about if the chiefly operating decision making function in your brain is being governed by somehow serotonin, so I would say that definitely you will crave for traditional, conventional, follow the rules kind of qualities will be a turn on for you. And these are the qualities which we generally see either from the Saturn influencing your seventh house, or a blend of both Saturn and Mars as well. In lot many cases, it has been seen that people who have the conjunction of Saturn and Mars, they can be very disciplined and they can be very timetable oriented as well. Now, guys, when we reach the third section, like which is testosterone, if this is what drives you, motivates you the most, your decision making or your turn on kind of factor. So, definitely, if the qualities which you seek out or which turns you on are like someone who's going to be analytical, logical, direct, decisive, good at things like engineering, computers, music. So I would say it is going to be a blend of the energies of the planet Mars, energy of the planet Mercury, and the energy of the planet Jupiter the most. And guys, when we understand it on the basis of the estrogen, like for example, the qualities which turns you on the most are like someone who's going to be thinking long term, imaginative, good at reading posture, gesture, tone of voice, then I would say that your seventh house has to be strongly under the influence of either Jupiter, Ketu, or to an extent Moon and Venus as well.
Now, guys, the next category in different form of love and relationship related query could be that you recently met someone and now you're thinking about that person and you're confused that is it a romantic love or is it a platonic love? To which the expert like Helen Fisher, whose work we are referring to, she gave a very a very valid explanation. She mentioned this thing that so far we have now got to know that romantic love is more driven from the VTA or the dopamine which it releases. So when you are actually romantically interested in someone, so that is the kind of a feeling where you have this tendency to think repeatedly about that person, in certain cases even get obsessed about that person. But when we talk about platonic love, it has got more to do with that sort of spiritual feeling regarding that person, and we do not think obsessively or too much about that person.
Now, guys, when we talk about how does someone know if they are feeling like romantic or the platonic attraction, so that's very simple. The astrologically, the planets which are responsible for creating that romance, that vibe and energy of romance around you. Suddenly, you saw someone and you are experiencing that spring weather, cherry blossom around you, wine, people playing violin and all. So I would say that planets like Moon and Venus activated in their sub period, in their Antardasha, strongly influencing your seventh house could be responsible for that. And guys, when we talk about platonic attraction, which could be very spiritual in nature, very soul level, deep karmic kind of connection, over where you are more smitten by the knowledge, by the guna, the traits and the virtues and the qualities of the other person. So over there in those situations, the influence of the planet Saturn, planet Jupiter, planet Mercury in the seventh house could be responsible for that. So because for the romance and romantic flair, moon, Venus, to an extent Rahu, the planet of like suddenly creating that energy around you, creating those feelings around you, within you, could be responsible. But yes, in order to make a wise judgment after thoroughly, properly scrutinizing someone, scanning someone's traits, contribution, accomplishments, and all. So planets like Saturn, Jupiter, Mercury, to an extent Ketu as well, plays a very important role.
Now, guys, another aspect or form of love or kind of changes which we go through when we are in love is a situation that what kind of like changes we generally go through when we are in love. Like, are there any specific kind of chemicals in our body which get enhanced? Definitely, guys, to be loved and being in loving relationship is the one thing which we all need in our life, but important is to understand that what kind of changes our body goes through, guys, to which the expert whose work we are referring to, she attached it more with a research which she conducted like in her professional journey, that over where to a sample of certain list of people were given a like there were like three category of people, like people who were madly in love, people who were rejected in love, and people who were in love for long term. And they were given a photograph, like two photographs, one of their love interest and another a neutral photograph. And what they found out was that definitely the ventral tegmental area, a small portion in the very base of the brain, which is responsible for releasing the dopamine, it got released in all those cases where people saw the photograph of their love interest. So this dopamine is generally responsible for like motivation, reward consumption, learning, memory, and the craving for intense romantic love. The good thing is that this ventral tegmental area which I mentioned, which releases the dopamine, this VTA lies right next to the factory that manages thirst and hunger in your brain. So that means thirst and hunger keeps you alive today. Romantic love enables you to focus your mating energy on just one individual at a time and start the mating process and send your DNA into tomorrow.
So, guys, after getting a scientific explanation of what actually is going through in our bodies when we think we are in love and all, so definitely astrologically we say this thing that whenever you are in love, your Venus activates, and definitely wheresoever it is going to be placed in your natal chart, it will release the hormones from that house. Like the way we say that, like many astrologers say this thing that wheresoever Jupiter is going to be placed in your natal chart, that part of the body, represented body part by that house, could be a little bit bigger. Same way we say that when we talk about Venus, it has to do with the beauty. So the beauty or the hormones astrologically get released, or it influences mostly kind of the house where Venus is placed in your chart. I cannot talk from the chemicals point of view from astrology, but one thing is for sure that when you are being well reciprocated, taken care in the love, your finances also improve in the life.
Now, guys, the next category of our curiosity in the matters of love and relationship is, does the concept of soulmate exist? Like someone who is going to be a brain expert or like a biological anthropologist whose work we are referring to for this video as a research material, what do you think she would have answered to this question? Like, because as an astrologer, I keep on getting this query, hey, I just started recently dating someone, I want to know that whether this person is my twin flame, whether this person is my soulmate or not. So important is to understand how does a brain expert answer this question. So to my surprise, when this question was asked to her regarding the concept of soulmate, or can you have many soulmates and all, so to which she answered that definitely even the science identifies and recognize a very deep soul level connection. You can also have many soulmates in a lifetime, but the only difference is that you cannot have multiple or two of them at the same time.
Guys, if I have to say about the soulmates astrologically, so very first thing is that we all know this thing that somehow the nodal axis and specifically Ketu is responsible for that. Does the concept of the twin flame and the soulmate exist? To which I have to say the same thing. Yes, it exists even astrologically as well. But guys, we have to take into consideration the country, culture, era as well, desh, kal, patra as well. So, and like even when I follow palmistry as well, when I look at the union line or the marriage line on the side of the palm, so that also explains that. So the point which I'm saying over here is that definitely, if you are born in a part of the world over where like monogamy and being with one person throughout the life is the standard norm set by the society, then there's a high possibility that okay, you will follow the same. But let's say for example you are born in a part of the world where being in relationship, like where the sustenance or the longevity of the marriage and the relationship is always in the question. So over there as well the same concept works. See guys, understand this thing. Planets can be seen as energy and they create results on the basis of their innate nature. So if you have combination in your 7th house which is indicating in this direction, the only thing this will work in your case or the concept of soulmate work in your case is that you will only attract those people in your life with whom you're going to have very deep soul level kind of connection. You will not flourish or you will not attract those kind of relationship or people in your life with whom you're going to have very superficial kind of relationship or a connection. Like even when they have gone, you cannot feel their need or miss the space which they have created in your life. So this is how you can see it. So when we talk about the concept of the soulmate, deep soul level connection, yes, that is or that can be proven astrologically as well. The influence of Ketu in the 7th house, seventh lord in the influence of Ketu, seventh lord or moon in the influence of the Ketu's nakshatra, Ashwini, Magh, Mula. Or in certain cases, if the seventh lord is placed in its own house, like you are Gemini Lagna, seventh house has got Sagittarius, and Jupiter is placed over there. So, in those kind of experiences and alignments, life will only make you run into the pure archetype of the seventh house energy. You are going to have the purest of the experiences in the matters of that house. In a way, you will invite someone who's going to be a pure archetype of that zodiac sign, and you are going to have very deep level of connection. But yes, when we say that depending on the country, part of the world, culture, era you are living in, things can vary. There could be those possibilities that you might have a relationship, many relationship in different intervals, but they are going to be very deep, very soul level connection. But guys, one thing is for sure, you cannot have more than one at the same time. Then that cannot be categorized as a soulmate kind of connection.
Now, guys, the next question pertaining to the matters of love and relationship could be that why people generally associate love more with the heart? Like, why not with some other body part? To which our expert, whose work we are referring to today, she answered that definitely when we talk about the mental, psychological behavior which we goes through, like when we are feeling loved or we are in love, so different people go through different kind of experiences like loss of appetite, loss of sleep and everything. But in our physical body, it's the pounding, like a very fast pounding of the heart, weak knees are certain things or certain changes which the body experiences the first. And also guys, even like around 5000 years ago in the Indus Valley, it was being discovered over there that the drawings which were later on was extracted over there as well. The like the equation or the depiction of the love was done with a figure which somehow looked very similar, like a leaf which looked somehow very much similar to the shape of the heart.
Now, guys, after getting the answer, the neurological or the scientific explanation for why people associate love with the heart, not with any other body part. So, astrologically, also, definitely it makes sense. We all know this thing that somehow the pure feeling of the love is generally seen from the fifth house, because it has been seen that if your like Venus is placed in the eighth house, you might be more driven towards the carnal desires, or your Venus is placed in the second house, 10th house, 11th house, your love might be more driven with how good of a provider the other person could be financially and all of that. Or this could be a case that any relationship, because it has been studied, relationship which happened at a time when they were in the time period of eighth lord or planet who's placed in the 10th house, third house, they turned out to be very superficial. But those relationship which happened at a time of the activation or promise coming in from the fifth house, they were like very unconditionally pious, pure. And we all know at end of the day, like even if we have to associate with the houses and the connected body parts in the human body, fifth house in a way to an extent is also connected with the heart as well, like people connected with stomach, heart and all. But yeah, heart has got a very strong thing, because sun, in the original Kal Purush Kundli, sun has got a like its ruled sign Leo falls in the fifth house. So astrologically as well, there is an explanation that why love is connected with the heart, why it is connected with the fifth house.
Now, guys, the next question is, which I'm sure is going to be a problem or a concern with lot many people, is that certain people go through this kind of turmoil that I lust very hard and I lose my interest very quickly as well. To which our expert, whose work we are referring to, she answered this thing that definitely we have evolved three different brain systems for mating and reproduction purposes. So definitely sex drive, which is linked with the testosterone in both men and women. This has to be the first eligibility. Only then a person is going to be interested in the courtship, in the companionship. After that, definitely that was the drive which initiated that spark. The second is the romantic love, which is linked with the dopamine system in both men and women. That will give you a focus in one person. It will help you narrowing down your love interest. And the last is the attachment, which is very much responsible for the procreation. So it is linked to the security with a long term partnership. So this is the kind of a explanation which we get from the neuroscience.
So, guys, after understanding the neurological or explanation from a brain expert regarding this situation, that why certain people lust hard and lose interest very quick, how can we understand it astrologically? So, guys, that's very simple. Um, in certain cases where you will find that the Mars and Venus are conjunct in the chart, and it's not only that the Mars and Venus have to be conjunct, even if Mars is aspecting Venus in the chart, and over and above that your moon sign is something which represents impulse. So we all know this thing that although like Aries is a sign which is considered as like very proactive, very impulsive, but there are like certain fire signs, like I would say that Leo also has got this tendency as well. And let's say for example, in a given situation where you will come across these kind of personality traits, and you will find that in the chart Mars and Venus are conjunct anywhere, or Mars is influencing Venus. Over and above that, the person has got moon in the fire signs, and moon is in the influence of Rahu. So in short, Mars is influencing the Venus, and Rahu is influencing a moon which is placed in the fire sign. This could be responsible for this kind of behavior, where native will definitely be very easily aroused. He will lust or she will lust very hard, and on immediate basis the person will lose interest very quickly. So again, guys, for this kind of situation, you have to individually monitor Mars and Venus. You have to individually monitor moon and Rahu fire signs in the chart, and definitely individually you have to see what is happening in the Gemini sign.
Now, guys, a lot many people are always curious about the authenticity or the credibility of the dating apps. A lot many people also say this thing that the divorce rates might be going very high because of the this binge eating style of online datings. But to which the statistics are saying something entirely different. Over there in the research, it has been found that the marriages tend to function much better with a slight difference if people have been paired through a dating app. The difference which and the reason for which has been stated that it could be because of the reason that when you are trying to find out your love interest through a dating app, lot of the eligibilities get cleared up right on the initial phase of the courtship only, that you know that okay, I will only go out with this person, I will only filter out these kind of people who are making this much money, whose economical status is like this. So because of which, to everyone's surprise, it has been observed that apart from the or in contradiction to the traditional matchmaking and all, the dating or the online apps, somehow the people who meet through these apps, the divorce rate tend to remain little bit less compared to the traditional matchmaking.
So, guys, this question, like any percentage of divorce rates for couples that meet via online dating sites, I guess it has been very well explained. The brain expert whose explanation I'm using in this video, she has already explained that. But definitely, guys, it's altogether a different criteria to look at in the chart. For the divorce, we say this thing, there are like other combinations. Seventh lord being afflicted, seventh lord being placed in the 12th house, in the 8th house, in a female's chart, like Jupiter Mars being afflicted, in a man's chart how afflicted Venus is. So all these are the kind of like combinations which talks about divorce. But the subject of our interest right now is to see the percentage or the ratio. So I guess I cannot say that unless and until I have not done much research, but I will like stick with the same opinion of the brain expert, that these days like people who go on finding a partner for themselves through online apps rather than traditional kind of setup, these guys are somehow strangely are more happy and contented because they get all of their criteria fulfilled before committing themselves in the marriage. And what is the chance of success or alignments which give you success through online matchmaking and all, we have already discussed in the earlier part of this video.
Now, guys, our last question for today, or the last situation in the relationship of today, is going to be, can you be strongly in love with someone and jealous of them? To which the answer which we received from our expert of the day is it's called mate guarding, which happens in animals as well. So, jealousy is a protective device the brain uses, it has evolved to keep your partner.
So, guys, and the last question for the day is, can you be strongly in love with someone and jealous of them? So, after getting an explanation from our brain expert on this, astrologically, how can we understand this? So, definitely, guys, like when we talk about jealousy, it can happen in so many planes. One factor of this could be that. See, although this looks very contradictory from a very idealistic point of view, how could I be jealous of someone, the same person I very earnestly and strongly love? But again, guys, we have come across all those kind of cases where driven by the negative emotions to which extent people go. And in extreme cases, they end up harming their own love interest only. So, when we talk about jealousy, it could be seen in so many ways. Like traditionally, it was all about expecting that exclusivity with your partner. That okay, just because you are committed wholeheartedly, you cannot tolerate your love interest to give equal attention to someone else. But with the changing times these days, within the same home only, where both the partner in a relationship also compete professionally as well. So we all know this thing that just because the marriage started getting into troubled waters because the one person suddenly started doing very good in his or her career, which was somehow giving complex or outshined the other person in the relationship. But generally, if you have to understand it astrologically, these are factors of intensity in the love, insecurity in the love, and jealousy in the love is a typical trait of, like, the thing is, here we are talking about people who are strongly being controlled by, or they are strongly in the influence of the Mars. So Mars can make someone little bit insecure or extremely protective. Like sometimes this excessive protectiveness also kind of work against you, because the other person starts feeling kind of caged in the relationship. So I mean to say, like if you have this kind of combination, that, or this could be a case that your partner has got moon being placed in the Scorpio, or moon could be placed under the influence of Rahu, and along with moon is in the influence of Rahu and it is placed in the 8th house, it is placed in the 12th house, or Mars is somehow involved, your moon is conjunct with Mars, your moon sign is like Scorpio specifically, then this could actually make you that, here I'm talking about the person who's going to be demonstrating these kind of qualities, intensity in the love, along with too much of the possessiveness, protectiveness, and to an extreme extent getting jealous as well, is the domain of that how strongly Mars, Rahu is influencing someone's moon. How strongly, or like, is moon being placed in the 8th house, 12th house, then it could demonstrate qualities like this in the matters of the love.
So yes guys, this is something which I wanted to say as a part of my inputs. This was kind of an experiment because initially I was thinking about like doing a kind of a Zoom session with someone who does not have anything to do with astrology. This person could be a brain expert, like neurology, or connected with the field of the medicine, and then getting into a discussion with that person. But I knew this thing that making or convincing someone to come on the panel and then do a discussion with them, and lot many people are already biased when it comes down to astrology. They see it as a pseudoscience. So I thought, okay, let me give the credit to this expert, take down of all the questions which she has answered, and try to blend astrology with it. So yes guys, this is something which I wanted to say as a part of my inputs. For furthermore updates and notifications on the divine science of Vedic astrology, please subscribe to my YouTube channel and follow me on my Instagram account. Dhanyawad.